me and the wife been, looking at homes and don't always believe what you see. I got catfished the other day, dog. To that same point, right? I was talking about putting faith in people. We have a president that's in office right now, and people really buy into what it is that he's saying, and they put a lot of faith in a person and in a title. Sure. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on with that, and that's kind of what we're dealing with today. All right, so welcome to the Get Busy podcast, folks. It's your boy B Jones.
And that's your boy Izzy.
We in this thing.
Yes, sir.
Yo, so happy Wednesday, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, feeling great.
Man, so all right, just off rip. Okay. Man, let me tell you about what's been going on, with the kid for the last couple of days.
Okay.
Yesterday specifically, man. So this is a great example of two things, all right?
Okay.
Number one is don't always put your faith in people, okay? Unless you got the right people around you, all right? That's thing number one. Thing number two is don't always believe what you see. I got catfished the other day, dog.
Ooh-wee. What's her name?
It's 1122 something Avenue or whatever it is, man. So me and the wife been, looking at homes, and her mother actually saw one that was for sale, and it was like diamond in the rough. You know what I mean? It was like 3.7 acres, but it was like $179,000. It's like it's in Oxford, Georgia, which is kind of rural. It's far out from Atlanta.
The boonies a little bit.
It's the boondocks. But it's like, almost 4 acres, maybe we could, for a little start or something, sacrifice a little bit, you know what I mean? A little distance. See, I could do a lot of things, you know what I'm saying?
You can.
So, man, in the pictures, they look phenomenal, right? I never showed you the pictures, son. I got to show you the pictures. I'm going to have her send them to me.
Okay.
The pictures look phenomenal. The inside looks great, like it's been remodeled. The deck looked like, it was... a little bit old, but it looked good though. You know what I'm saying? Like just, maybe a little elbow grease or something, a new stain or something.
A little stain on there.
So, her mom sends it over. Like, let's go look at it now.
Okay.
So this was in the morning. We were headed to the office. We get almost to the office. Like, you know what, man, bump that. Let's go. So, hit the U-turn, go driving. It's like 20 minutes from the office, 25 minutes. And as we're pulling up, it's like, okay, it's rural, you know what I mean? But there's a difference, like there's some stuff that looks nice, you know what I'm saying? There's some stuff that looks farm-like, and then there's some stuff that looks just a little junky, you know what I'm saying? Okay. And so we was pulling through the little junk. It's like, all right, but hey, acres, you know what I'm saying? Maybe around the next corner, and then we saw like, tires and in people's front yards and... we saw...
It's not a good sign.
Yeah, and, and it's all good. People live how they live. Hey, it's no judgment, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Then we saw, like, when people have, like, the RVs that's, like, caved in, you know what I'm saying, in their front yards. It's like, okay, no problem. Hey, look, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm just waiting for it to get a little nicer because the house we saw was nice.
You staying positive right now.
I'm like, but Nadia's like... my wife is she's sitting there. She's like, baby, I can smell the meth from here, and I'm like, nah, yo, we're good,
That's funny.
And seeing mobile homes with land, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm used to seeing, if I see mobile homes, it's like trailer parks, so it's a bunch of them in like a smaller area. Right. I'm not used to seeing like mobile homes on like an acre and a half, That I was like, okay, hey, look, smarter not harder. Yeah. Man, we pull up to this house, bro. It's quite possibly the worst house I've ever pulled up to in my life.
Oh,
the front deck was falling apart. The roof looked okay. You know, the shutters were all falling. The stairs up to were broken down. You know, windows were completely jacked up. The yard was still, it wasn't paved. It's like kind of gravel and mostly just dirt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's fine too. I would even be willing to work with that. But man, the house was just completely wrecked. Like it was completely wrecked. And I realized that, they used AI to doctor up, or they just used some extraordinary filters to doctor up the pictures that they had.
Wow.
And so the inside of the house, the inside pictures were nothing like what was actually inside the house.
Oh, they had the glamour shots.
Bruh, so it wasn't even glamour shots. They just made it up. It's like, this is what it could be if this is, if you put, whatever thousands of dollars into it, you could make it look like this at some point. Not what it was currently, you know what I mean? So I was like, man, this is how people feel when they out here on these dating apps, or, you know what I mean, trying to date people online. It's like, this is what catfish felt like, because I was going to something where my hopes was really up. I was like, hey. I called my sister-in-law. She's an agent. And she was like, well, what's wrong with it? I was like, look at the picture. She was like, yeah, but if it's that low, there's something wrong with it. And, and she's been doing this for several years now. So I should have rocked with it. But I was hoping, man. I was holding on to hope.
Yeah.
But man, the area was terrible. The house was even worse.
Wow.
And so I was catfish, man. So that's thing number one. So I got that experience in life, you know what I mean? I see what it is. I understand. I got people, I can empathize with people now, sympathize a little bit with them.
For sure.
Yeah, so second thing is, man, we've been operating with one vehicle for a couple of months now because my car has been kind of down and it's needed, a significant amount of work. And so I got back in touch with one of the homies from like back in the day, high school. I almost did a name drop, but I'm gonna leave that alone right now.
Oh, I was going to ask you who it was, but yeah, I guess we'll leave it alone.
Yeah. So, you know who it is. They were, anyway.
Does his name sound like it was in the R&B group?
I don't even know what that means, but
no, I can't give no more clues. Never mind. Go ahead. We'll talk after.
Yeah. So, but got back in touch, you know what I'm saying, over the last couple of years, last couple of, several months. And it's been cool because his cousin, was one of our good friends in high school, homie that was on the band and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you're talking about now.
Yeah. And but it was good reconnecting. It's like, hey. And back then, we were kind of thick as thieves. Whenever we came in town, there was a real level of trust and friendship that was there, right? So he looked out once back in September when we met my sister for the first time. She came in town.
Okay.
And or that was like October, whatever it was. And he was working at Sam's Club and got us to hook up on like extra amount. Like we had a case of chicken and stuff like that. Looked out, you know what I'm saying? I was like, hey, appreciate it,
Yeah.
So he's telling me, I got this mechanic, he does great work. He'll look at your car for the low. Cool. So I, dropped the car off with him. And he's like, it might take a little bit of time because he's got a bunch of cars he's, looking at right now. He works at a shop, during the day, but he can look at it afterwards. Hey, no problem. It's trying to work it into my budget and everything else anyway, because we're trying to be extra focused on where the money's going.
Right.
And, we got moms is at the crib, so we're still maneuvering with like multiple vehicles. So it's okay.
Yeah.
So October comes, I dropped it off like the end of September. Then October comes and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to pull the trigger and get some things going. He's like, all right, cool. So he had the guy looked at it and, hey, this is going to be this and this and this, it's going to cost you this much money. Okay, cool, no problem. So boom, send him the money for it. Now this is the homie, you know what I'm saying? I'm not thinking anything sideways. This is somebody I've known since 1995. You know what I mean?
Sure. That's a long time.
Yeah, but we haven't been operating in that capacity for like 20 years.
Okay.
So like 18 years or something like that, since like 2003 or something, 2002,
Yeah.
So it's not the same, but then it was that tight, you know what I'm saying? And I was operating like we just going to pick back up from that point. So, October goes to November. And I'm not thinking about it every day because we're able to maneuver, and his homie's got, whatever he's got going on. November gets to December, and I'm like, all right, so hey, what's up? Oh, well, so they ordered the parts, but some of the parts were coming from like China or something. Took a little bit longer. I was like, that sounds plausible,
Yeah.
Parts got here, but then he opened up one of the parts and realized that it malfunctioned early, so we had to send it back. It's okay, no problem. Look, I'm getting this for a crazy discount, I'm not really gonna trip. December, turns into January. Now it's like
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. All right, so I dropped this off at the end of September, so now we fully at 3 months. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, all right, bro, like what's the word? Yeah, you should be done with it in the next week or so, man. You should have it back by next weekend. Okay, cool. Next weekend comes. Hey, I went out of town. I got a new job. I started a training regiment. I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. Okay, you did tell me that he was looking for a gig. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Okay, so, can I, is it ready? Yeah, I'm sure it is, but let me just, let me get back in. Well, let me just get the guy's number. Okay, yeah, but I'm not like pressed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're still moving. I'm not really. Then January goes to the end of January, and I'm like, we're now at 4 months. This is literally a quarter of the year. You know what I mean?
You could build a whole new car in that amount of time.
So I'm like, look, man, if it's ready, then I need to get it. If it's not ready, you know what I mean? I'm just going to get the car back. If I got to get it towed back, if it's not ready, whatever it is, like, it's time to, my wife is starting to ask about like, hey, what's up with the car? Like, we need to be able to move differently. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'll be back this weekend. I'll make sure to get to you this weekend. This weekend turned to, oh, I'm stuck in Dallas, man. You'd be surprised what kind of drama I'm dealing with,
I'm guessing we didn't care what kind of drama he's dealing with.
So I'm like, yo, that's not my problem. Just give me the dude's information. Like, but again, I'm trying to take him at his word because this is the home. I'm operating with like an extra level of patience. Mm-hmm. So that week goes to the next week. And then that week goes to last weekend. And last weekend, I'm back on Friday. Hey, man, I just got off the phone with the guy. He didn't finish tightening up one last thing. I promise I got you on Tuesday, I just got finished going off on him, Mm-hmm. So Tuesday comes, and that's yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. Now we're in February.
We are.
And I'm on the phone with him. Yeah, man, I just got off the phone with him. Yep, he's going to have it. Yeah, I'm just getting off work now. I got off of work a little bit late. He's getting off in a few minutes and going to finish tightening up that thing, and I'm going to go pick it up, and I'm going to drop it off with you. Okay. So something doesn't, it just, at this point, it's not really adding up. But at least I'm on the phone with them, I'm talking. Mm-hmm. So I'm out working last night. I go, get a collection. Mm-hmm. And something says, you just go by there. So boom, I go over to Gwinnett, go to the apartment complex. And his apartment's on the bottom floor. Mm-hmm. And the parking lot is right in front of where his patio is. Mm-hmm. And where I parked it originally was right in front of where his patio is. Mm-hmm. So I go up there. I don't see the car anywhere. I'm like, oh, all right. So maybe he's not lying. Maybe the dude really does have it. I was like, all right, that's reassuring.
Yeah.
But then as I'm pulling back out, I realized that there's like a little down bend, and then it goes to the back. Okay. I was like, well, let me just go see if it's behind it, the back of the building. I pull around to the back of the car. Oh, that's it's a Maxima right there. Wow. So that looks awfully like mine. So let me just jump out the car. Maybe it's just ironic, Mm-hmm. So I look, I say, oh, that armrest is a little bit jacked up just like mine was. I said, let me just look at the license plate.
Everybody jacks up the armrest, you know what I'm saying?
I said, let me just look at the license plate. I said, oh, those are my numbers.
Oh,
those are
the
my
numbers
license numbers.
And the letters all matched?
All matched.
Oh, boy.
So I called him. And I was like, yo, I said, hey, yo, let me, I said, you said, where'd you say the car was again? He said, I said, you said it's at the shop, right? He said, yeah. I said, where is that? Was that Buford or something? He said, yeah, it's like that Lawrenceville, Buford, kind of border. I was like, man, I said, yo, let me get the address to that spot, man, so I can, in case I got to get it towed or something like that. He's like, no, I should be driving, man. I'll get a guy to call back in a few seconds to see, what time frame he's looking at. And I was like, yeah, man, because I gotta, if it's driving or whatever, I just need to be able to go get it. I'm gonna, probably try to go get it tomorrow, if that's where it is. He said, well, I don't know exactly the address. I just know where it is, but I can get the address for you. So I'll shoot it over to you. And as he's saying that, I go knock on the door. And he's like, what the, who, hold on a second, man. Somebody's knocking on the door. I was like, yo, it's not somebody, man. That's me. Just give my keys back, you know? So he's like, oh. So he opens the door up, you know? And then I walk inside. He's like, yo, come inside. I was like, there's no need. He's like, no, man, just come on inside, man. Come inside. So I just step in the door and he was like, so I can explain. I was like, yo, there's no need, bro. Like, just give me my keys. Like, at this point, just give me the keys.
I want to hear the explanation.
I didn't want to because, like, I'm still trying to operate in the right way. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, like, it requires a level of, like, patience and being able to, you know, deal with the situation, but then also remove myself from the situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, like, the BS, I've already been dealing with the BS for how long at this point. You know what I mean? I gave this dude, you know, money for parts, you know, hundreds of dollars. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I haven't been driving my car for the last 4 months. And so, like, to continue to hear more BS in my face, you would have dealt with the hospital or jail cell. You know what I'm saying? It's like, there's no need for that, you know?
Nah, man.
And so it's like, just not operating from that space or from that light. You know what I mean? So, and I prayed about it before I went in there, and that's what I was talking about. Like, don't put your faith in people, you know?
Yeah.
And also, man, know who it is that we're dealing with. Like, me and you have been rocking, but we've been rocking strong for a very long period of time. Yeah. And the other, you know, group of people that I kick it with, Jason, you know, Nathan, I still talk to, you know what I'm saying? But we are still in strong communications. I know what your belief systems are, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I know what your lives are like and what you're operating with and how you're walking and how you're talking and everything else, and it lines up. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that about this dude, you know? I knew who he was in 1995 through 2002, you know?
Yeah.
And that's really it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, things change.
Things change, you know? And so, like, I was hope that a person would grow, you know, more away from those types of things as you get older. Yeah. Because before he wasn't that kind of person, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would have never counted him as one of those type of people, but it seems like he kind of grew into that type of shadiness as opposed to, like, away from it. So it was, you know, kind of, I don't think I was really disappointed. Maybe I kind of was. I wasn't really angry because I removed myself before I got angry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I called the wife and I was talking to her. She's like, yo, you all right? I was like, no, I'm just glad to know who it is I'm dealing with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's better to find out now that's, you know what I mean, who's around, than continue to move like it's somebody that needs to be kept around. Mm-hmm. So you got to, you know, understand where people are sometimes. And I still pray for him, man. Pray for him that he, you know, realizes who Jesus is. But we had a conversation the other day and he was like, man, you've been doing the, you know, Christian thing for a little while. Like, how does that really help out? I just talked to him about perspective and how I've been digging into Christ. Like, I'm learning how to deal with life in a much better way. Yeah. And he's like, I never really thought about it like that, but that's something that most people don't say. So that was cool. And so hopefully also how I handle the situation might, you know, begin to kind of hopefully help him in some particular way to grow to a better place. I'm just going to leave it at that. But it was just real wild, man. Like, damn, homie.
Yeah. It's like, how long you been? So the car's running.
Car's running. So I drove it over here today. I've been driving it all day.
So he's been driving it probably for 3 months. Just free rental.
Just free rental, bro. I knew his car was jacked up too, but my wife was like, "Did you find out, what did he say? Did he apologize?" I was like, I don't even want to hear it. Like, I don't. Yeah, that's not important.
So you got catfish twice, basically. That's
got the double catfish.
The double catfish. Thought you had a friend and turned out to be an enemy.
Yeah, and like, and the thing that's so crazy about it is like, because in my life I haven't really experienced much of that. Like, I've heard people talk about your friends. Sometimes your best friends could be your enemies and all that kind of stuff. I never experienced that for real. Like, I feel like I got a pretty solid group of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think I ever been, for what I can remember.
Yeah, like backstab like that.
Yeah, stabbed in the back like that. From
it's pretty grimy.
A good friend.
You know, like Donnie's and Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? I got some good people around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, that's just kind of wild.
Well, I'm glad you chose the high path, because I can't do this podcast by myself. The Get B podcast. I gotta make new. I just made them shirts. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Matter of fact, let me spread it out a little bit. Let people see it.
Let people see it.
But yeah, man. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
But to that same point, right? I was talking about putting faith in people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. In a friend of mine that I was thinking, or an associate of mine I was thinking, would be able to uphold this thing that they were saying that they could do, right? Mm-hmm. And that's somebody that I actually knew. Meanwhile, we have people in political office. We have a president that's in office right now, and people really buy into what it is that he's saying, and they put a lot of faith in a person and in a title. Sure. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on with that, and that's kind of what we're dealing with today. So yeah, man, there's been a lot that's been talked about, and there's been a lot of stuff that's been done from the time of the inauguration. Right. To where we are right now. And it's been so fast and so furious that it's almost like, whoa. If you take a second to blink, it seems like there's another 10 or 15 executive orders that's like coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the ones that I really wanted to talk about that's got people in a lot of communities really concerned is the birthright citizenship.
Yeah.
And so what that is it's been kind of paused for right now. And so that gives people a little bit of hope. But it's basically saying that you're no longer an American citizen if you're born in America, if your parents aren't both American citizens.
Right.
And so...
And it's been like that for forever. Like, right?
No, if you're like if your parents are here, regardless of their citizenship,
right?
If you're born here,
you're good.
You're here.
Yeah.
And so, trying to change that up, and it's man, our country is built off the backs of run operations. It's an immigrant country, like hands down, point blank. Period.
If you're not Native American, then. You're an immigrant, cuz.
Right.
Your ancestors were. Yeah, no, it's I can't, that's something I can't relate to as far as like living in the country where you don't have, legal status.
Right.
But, you're not doing anything wrong, you're just trying to work, trying to make a living and that's what most of us are trying to do. But then having that fear
right
in the back of your mind that, man, you could get deported at any time, or, you might get deported with your wife and kid is still here, or,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I can't imagine what that feels like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know because, the topic of immigration has been, it's been a hot topic for years now.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know if anybody has the answers on what's the best way to deal with it, because you got a lot of people who are immigrants to this country, not legal, but they do a lot of things that help this country run.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So yeah, that's a tough situation, man. I really do, feel for, the people that are here.
Yeah.
To try to better their lives, because
I got a homie in Oklahoma. He's here. He's an American citizen. He was born in Mexico. I used to work with him at Papado. Shout out Carlos Carrillo. And man, great dude. He's out there and they're protesting, man, because there's people that's actually here, from Mexico that maybe have a green card, or maybe they had somebody that was able to come over and visit that's pregnant, or whatever the situation is, and you're looking at it. And thinking that this is the opportunity to come up, right? Or maybe you came from Guatemala or any of these places, right? Mm-hmm. And people around the globe, at the end of the day, still look at America as the place of opportunity. It's still the place that you can get to, and if you can get there, you can make some things happen.
Yeah.
And a lot of other places aren't that way. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And I think we take that as Americans, we take that for granted, and we don't necessarily look at the opportunity that's here. And we don't take advantage of the opportunity that's here. But a lot of other people, when they come, they're looking at it like, yo, it's here, it's available. Like, why not? You know what I mean?
A whole nother perspective that they have.
Right. And right now I'm at an African a predominantly African congregation at my church. You know what I'm saying? And with the way things are shaking up, they're looking at it like, even though it's, specifically for people that are born here right now and they've got, visas, or they've got, some level of citizenship or residency or whatever it is, like there's a fear that's starting to permeate, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just from the words that's being spoken. And so what it boils down to, though, at the end of the day, is that regardless of what a person says and regardless of what a person tries to do, is that our hope and our trust rest in Jesus Christ. And that's what it ultimately boils down to. Like, sometimes we can take our eyes off the prize and we can get shaken and terrified by the stuff that's presented in front of us.
Yeah.
And so the reason why I wanted to kind of focus on this in this particular pod was because we know whose we are. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And if you don't know whose you are, begin to ask those questions and find out what's going on with your soul, what's going on with your spirit, because it's more than just this earth suit that we're dealing with. And so there's rest and there's peace and there's comfort in knowing who Jesus is, right? And also knowing that everything it is that we need, that God's already done for us. And it's also like a level of peace in being able to kind of fall back from that. But if we are not capable of it, if we just deal with the anxiety that comes, just deal with the worry that comes, then we can be running around in circles and not actually get to the place that we need to get to. And so like Deuteronomy, talks about the coming out of, or Exodus talks about the coming out of Israel, right?
Right.
But when the Israelis came out of Israel, God had already promised them everything. It was like, yo, you're going to go to a place. I prepared it for you. Like, you got this, you got that, you got the third. You're not going to have to do anything. You're good.
Yeah.
But they still ended up worrying. They still ended up having anxiety about what it was that they saw in front of them.
Right.
And because they operated out of that anxiety, because they operated out of that worry, they ended up circling for years and years and years. And then most of them didn't even make it in, you know what I'm saying? Because they doomed themselves because of worry and anxiety. And we still are capable of
lack of faith.
Lack of faith.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And we can do that to ourselves if we don't believe in what God's telling us that he's already done.
Yeah, I think when we, I've had this conversation with, several people like who are much more into politics, and when you put your, you end up watching those news channels and you watching them 24/7, just worrying yourself, being stressed out, being angry.
Literally giving yourself gray hairs or losing hair, blood pressure spiking and going in different directions.
Yeah.
People waking up angry and going to bed angry, and because of what they saw in the news.
Yeah, and it's it's affecting your physical health,
literally
your mental health. You know what I'm saying? So like, when we we don't want to admit that we're putting our faith in a news channel or a president or a government, but like a lot of us do.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Period. Point blank, the end.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be worried about it. You know what I'm saying? If God is it's the top,
right,
at the top of the food chain for you, and he tells you like, cast your burdens on me because I care for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, then if you really believed it, you'd be doing that.
Yes.
But I do get, you know what I'm saying? Like, the world is a scary place, and there's people that have to deal with a lot of things that I don't have to worry about. Like, I don't have to worry about my citizenship. You know what I'm saying? So like, but for somebody in that situation, man, like, I would point them to God. Be like, bro, I don't have the answers, but man, there is a God of the universe,
right,
who cares and loves you dearly, even if nobody else. Excuse me, even if it seems like nobody else does.
Yeah, that's 100% it.
Okay, so with the Trump immigration thing that he's trying to pass, it sounded like he's not trying to introduce a new law, but he was trying to change the interpretation of what the law already said, which we all like read the law as, if you're born here, you're a citizen. Now he's trying to change the definition of an existing law. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, he's trying to basically rewrite the Constitution, to be honest, like in an executive order, because it's not just the law, it's the Constitution that the law is based off of.
Okay.
And so he's really trying to change the fundamental like aspects of what it is to be here.
Yeah.
And I really don't think that it's going to have much legs behind it. That's why the judge is put the pause to it already. And it's going to take a lot to really get them to do, to allow that to go forward. So I think realistically, but it's more than I think actually doing it, more than like the change. I think it's more of this is what my thought process is. I think it's more just stuff to be paid attention to and more fear mongering. It's like pay attention to this, think about this, worry about that, and it's also appeasing a certain level of like his constituents, right? Okay. Like there's a lot of people that are like, oh, we need to get rid of this, we need to do this. And so if he comes out the gate like, hey, I'm trying to do this, then they'll feel like, okay.
So you think it's more of a tactic?
Yeah. But I think it's more of a tactic on his part, but I still think that tactic is impacting how people are viewing it. You know what I'm saying? Like they're still making them feel like, oh, a little bit of trepidation, a little bit of scared, a little bit of concern. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that's what I really think as far as that goes, man. And he kicked in the door with the transgender joint. So we're going to kind of jump right into that as well.
Okay.
And this one I actually kind of with the change in the law or changing the interpretation of the law for citizenship, I completely disagree with it. Right? Like I stand 100% on the other side of that.
Yeah.
But for the transgender not being able to play in or participate in a sports, whether it be professionally or whether it be collegiately or whether it be in your schools or in your states, you have to play with the gender that you're assigned at birth.
Right.
I'm 100% on board with that.
I am too.
I mean, I could not be in bigger support of it, period.
Yeah.
Because it's just not fair. Like at the end of the day, biology is biology. Anatomy is anatomy.
Yeah.
And I heard somebody argue like, yeah, what about, like the bigger women that is, man, I don't care.
Yeah. So the lady that was the head of what was the organization called? I got to go back and look it up.
I don't remember.
She was basically in support of like transgender athletes or whatever. She referenced like Serena Williams because Serena is very muscular, very fit.
Yeah.
It's like, we got different. Okay. Serena Williams herself said that, me being the number one woman in the world, if I played the last place man, he would kill me.
Yep. She literally said that. Yep.
She said that.
And you know what? I actually had the argument that Serena was so good that she could probably compete with men at one point because she was dominating. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Serena is that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Who would know better?
Yeah, but she out of her own mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Because she trains with men, so it's not like she's never done it before, and it's like a theory. Like she trains with dudes. Yeah,
now there was somebody that was in college or did some sort of like swimming, and it was a guy. Did you hear about that? The dude that ended up being in like 100th or 90th place when it came to being ranked as a man, had the gender switch. And went to compete as a woman, ended up dominating everybody.
Yeah.
And it's like, stuff like that's just not fair. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, I got 2 girls. You know what I'm saying? You got 3 girls. You know what I mean? And as they continue to grow and want to be a part of, athletics or whatever it is, like it's not fair to have somebody out here that's physically capable of being stronger, bigger, faster, thicker bone density. You know what I'm saying? Like there are just certain biological things. Now, whatever you want to do with your life, do it. I don't care. It doesn't make me any difference if you want to be a man or you want to be a woman or you want to be whatever else you want to be. I don't care. And be with whoever you want to be with, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to competition, when it comes to sports, when it comes to competing on any level like that, there needs to be some boundary set Like we have just gone way too far right or way too far left in a wrong direction when it comes to this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank. The end, man. Like I don't even know how else to say it other than that.
Yeah. So I think we should know it is okay whether you like Trump or not.
Right.
Like I don't like him as a person.
Right.
But like I can agree to certain things he does. Like it doesn't have to be like all or none. You know what I'm saying? The way a lot of people align themselves. Like you could pick apart certain policies. Like yo, that the immigration thing, like that's trash.
Yeah.
The transgender thing, like okay, I'm for that, and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like it's okay to like to look at something, think about it, like calculate it yourself, and make it. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
A decision. You don't. It doesn't mean you agree with everything that person says. Like it doesn't mean you like that person or support that person.
That's really good that you focused on that real quick because that's almost where we are, like as a society. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like if I say that I agree with anything that this person says, you know what I mean, then you need to stake him and burn him in hell. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't. It's like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, and it's almost. Man, you might have said it a couple of weeks ago, man, but like it's really we operating like sheeps out here. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's pretty terrible because it means we can't think for ourselves. It's what somebody says, you know, it's either all or nothing, and that's not reality. Yeah, that's not life. You know, in any way. And so I'm really glad you highlighted that because, yes, just what you said, man. Like I disagree with a whole lot of things that he says. But I do agree with that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it was so ironic listening to so many women speak up about it. I thought that women would be more in favor of like the separation. But there were so many women that was like, well, if he wants to do that, why doesn't he fight for this, that, and the third? And I agree with those things. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand the need to, you know, fight for women's rights and equal play and, you know, these different things. But I just didn't see... I just thought that there would be more kind of support in that regard. But again, it's like, oh, but it's Trump, so I can't, you know, support it. It's like, oh, okay, that's why. It's kind of wild. Yeah. But one of the other things that kind of has people a little bit concerned and a little bit scared is there was a pause that was put on the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, the HHS, the Human Health. I'm not gonna say the wrong thing. The HHS has to do with health in America.
Human Health Services.
Humans. That's what I want to say, but I'm not sure if that's 100% right. Yeah,
that's what I'm gonna go with.
But but there was a pause that's put on until the 16th, right, of February, which is this coming Monday, and they can't report anything to America. It all has to come to the administration's office to get checked. You know, normally if there's like an egg recall or if there's salmonella in your lettuce or whatever these things that have happened over the years,
mad cow disease, and
all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. So they got to they let you know. You know what I'm saying? They have agencies that let everybody know the CDC's involved. You know, the Senate third. And right now there's been a pause put on that for like the last 3 weeks, and so. Eggland's Best had like a recall with some eggs, you know, at the end of last year. And there's some other things that's been going on. And people are like, you know, getting worried, oh, don't buy this and don't buy that. And make sure you're cooking this, make sure you're cooking that. And all that stuff is fine. You know what I'm saying? But just be wary of what it is that you're putting in your body anyway. We focus so much on what the FDA says is good for you. We focus so much on what, you know, this person or this government or this and the third, you know, says or whatever. And at the end of the day, it's really up for us to do the research. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, we got to take responsibility for us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Man, when it came to the COVID vaccines, we were all out here, you know, people were taking COVID vaccines. People weren't taking COVID vaccines. That was very dynamic, polarizing. That's exactly it. It was very polarizing. Big words. But they've come back in almost every agency, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, they've all walked back the absolute certainty that they were preaching with from the beginning, you know, how good it is or how successful it was or how beneficial it would be. There have been a number of side effects that have taken place since. You know what I'm saying? There's been like all this extra stuff that's taken place, and they've walked back almost everything they said at the beginning, right? Even Anthony Fauci was like, started off with, oh, it's 100% blah, 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 blah. It's within a small percentage. And now it's like, yeah, well, it's not really blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And so like when you start to look at it, it's like, man, we buy into it because we hear it immediately. And I understand that because you got to get your information from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But, man, just don't believe everything you're sold. Not immediately. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And do your own research as opposed to just like hearing it on MSNBC and believing it, or hearing it on Fox and believing it, or hearing it on CNN and just buying into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe look at a newspaper article, which is also a particular agency, but at least they'll give you where they got their information from, and then go to that source. And the better part of it is, man, we got phones. And these phones, you can actually, once upon a time, we didn't have the information available to us, right? So we kind of had to buy into the stuff that we were being sold, because we had a newspaper that you could go buy, or I had to go to the library to figure something out.
Yeah.
And maybe I had an encyclopedia that, somebody sold my mom. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, shout out to Encyclopedia Britannica.
Bruh, I used to have some. Anyway. But like that was it. You know what I'm saying? But now we actually have the access and the resources to do the, your own research. And as we have more, we got to do more. We got to take more accountability, be more responsible for these things, man. So that's really what I wanted to say in a nutshell about the majority of these things, man. But more than any of that, God promises us wisdom. He promises us knowledge, and he promises to give it to us freely if we ask for it, if we seek it, and if we get into his word. And so what that wisdom is going to do is give you the discernment to be able to understand, hey, when I'm reading this, maybe this is something that I should be following the information of, or maybe I shouldn't. And we're not leaving it just to our imaginations or to our feelings. You're leaving it to the power that's guiding your life. And that power is in Jesus Christ. So,
amen, bro.
That's really it.
Sounds good to me, man. All right. Well, y'all know what to do. Do your research.
That's it, man. Do your research. Get busy. You stop being out here playing games. Just get busy with your own life.
Don't be so mean to the people, man.
Oh yeah, my bad, man. I love y'all, man. Hey,
we love y'all. We got a little excited toward the end.
Yeah, that's really what it boils down to. I get passionate about people not caring for themselves, and people caring for themselves, because I care for you guys, and so I get a little intense sometimes. But
yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
There it is.
All right,
Until
man.
next time, yo, get busy.
Get busy, y'all. Peace.
And got